What is an attractive man? Ireland 1967. Let's see what 67 looked like.
What do you look for in a man physically?
Well, I like a man to be bigger than me and to have a strong character, somebody who has a stronger character than I have.
Does he have to be a man with great big muscles and
No.
great big thighs and legs?
No, I don't like a man who's too preoccupied with his own masculinity.
What about skinny fellas?
Skinny fellas are okay, depending on their character.
Well, I'm very attracted to men who are able to sing and play music, interested in music and singing.
Do they have to be physically big men?
Oh, no, not necessarily. No, I like the people who are slim and trim.
What do you look for in a man when you want to find him attractive?
Keep in mind that they are persuaded by the current rock stars of their era, the singers. This is 67, also fashion. So keep in mind those two things, and movie. So the media back then is essentially what they're regurgitating. But I'm wondering if we're going to hear anything regarding, like, a little slip, a blip of, I like muscular men, but I prefer insert indoctrinated idea.
Well, I like a well-proportioned man.
There it is.
Around 6 foot.
Wait, but in 67, they wanted 6 feet and above. The game's never changed. It's always the same. Just the time, the hour, and the year. That's the only thing that's different.
In height and not too lean and not too fat.
Mm-hmm.
Does he have to be a fella with a lot of muscle?
Oh, no, I find those muscular men rather revolting to look at. These fellows all muscles now.
What do you look for then in a man?
Well, Carl, I don't go out with a specific idea in mind, but I do find that I think certain people are attractive, and they're usually fairly slim and athletic type people. But they're not enormous, big, sort of Apollo-type specimens of humanity, which I find rather disgusting looking.
Why do you find this so?
Well,
remember, the gynocracy was just gaining massive steam in 67. This was also the era when hippies were big. The summer of love in 1967, that's when it happened. When guys were built like Elvis Presley, Ray Charles, Johnny Cash, all the Jimi Hendrix. Like, this is the era. So what they're modeling off of is those kinds of men. They were typically muscle, but not muscle-bound bodybuilder types. And they had, lean physiques, but not too skinny. And like that previous woman said, I like a singer. They're just reacting to the times back then. So imagine if those rock stars and the summer of love and hippie culture, psychedelics and all this stuff has affected the decision-making of a woman's mate preferences. Look at it today in the same manner. If you look at it in the same lens, what's in today among younger women, they have face tattoos today. They have tattoos all over their chest. They have sleeves. They look like they're modeling themselves after rappers, SoundCloud rappers. When they prefer men, they say that they prefer rappers are some rapper XYZ is the one that they want to hook up with. And you're noticing the woman is starting to mimic the quote famous men, going after men that look like that. That's why you see guys with neck tattoos, face tattoos. You see that look. It's a look. It's like a rapper look. It got popularized. It's currently in. That's the flavor of the month for this decade that we're in right now. And you're seeing it distilled down into society as a whole. So many people have face tattoos today. So many people have chest tattoos, like in between their breasts, like full sleeves everywhere, loaded on their thighs. Everywhere, man. That's what's in. That's what they find attractive. And that's modeling the times today. But no matter what era, there are certain things that will always cross over. Be lean, be tall, protective, masculine, and always fall somewhere towards the center of whatever it is you're using as a point of value.
The problem if you go to an Apollo place and start doing bodybuilding and so on is that you will get overweight, or you will get so developed that you look rather like what you might expect to find in a zoo, for example.
I like him to be taller than me, not too heavy.
What about muscles?
No, muscles be inclined to put me off too much.
And it's funny because if you skip forward from 67 to like 87, when bodybuilding hit mainstream, 70s, 80s, 90s, early 90s, I bet you the fit bod, I bet you the guy ripped with a six pack starts to become the majority of what women want, which we saw in the 90s. It was absolutely normal, like 80s and not the action hero era When the action hero era came on, the Arnolds, the Sylvesters, the Jean-Claude Van Dammes, right, the Wesley Snipes, all these jacked buff dudes, guess what women were into then? I like them to be a little bigger, have a little more muscle, be lean. You know, it just, at the end of the day, man, the game is the same. You have to have money, you got to be taller than them, and you have to be fit. This crosses all eras. It cannot and will never be replaced. You're answering nature's call. She needs to feel protected. She needs to feel safe in your arms. That comes from physicality only. Then she has to be invested in your future, and your progeny has to have a good outcome, which requires money, resources. If you don't have a good paying job, no matter what era you're in, you're going to struggle. If you don't make money, you will struggle. Height is another characteristic that, unfortunately, we're just born with, can't really change. That goes back into the needing to feel protected. Height is a big factor. It's probably bigger than a nice body. You could be a 5'4" dude, the brutal truth, with like bodybuilder-esque fitness model, universe physique. But if a dude 6'6" walks by you, you've instantly been cucked right then and there. Women will look at you, perfect physique, and a dude 6'6" with the average physique and choose the 6'6" guy because he looks like he can crush you and stuff you in like a trash can. It is what it is. You have to find a woman that's shorter than you. You can't really negotiate this. There are certain women that are be okay with it. But again, your relationship is a ticking time bomb because competition is always present. Your woman, when she goes out with her girlfriends or just in general, she gets approached by other men. The vast majority of the men are probably going to be a better option than you because they're taller than you. So if you nabbed a tall one and you're a short king, God bless you, dude. I hope your relationship works. Hope it's stable and I hope it lasts a lifetime. But statistically speaking, you have to be better than her in every single metric imaginable.
You know, certain amount, okay.
What physical attributes do you admire in a man?
Well, personally, I don't really go for the physical point of view at all. I would prefer personality. But I would prefer a man to be, well, anything from 5'10" to 6 foot. Not very muscly, which I think most Irish men are very brawny and, ugly looking. But I prefer him to, if he had large bone structure, to be just fairly well covered.
Well, when I first see a man, first of all, I like to see what kind of personality he has. His physical attraction isn't that much to me.
But there must be some sort of physical build that you prefer to another
yes,
sort of physical.
medium height, not too fat, not too well built, not too muscly.
Well, a tall, very, very broad man.
Essentially, this is the equivalent of dad bod today. When they say they like a dad bods are hot. They're thinking James Bond, Daniel Craig, the beach photo we all know. Where that's what they consider. This is when they say things like this, not too big, not too small, not too ripped, not too skinny. What they're saying is Daniel Craig, the perfect amount of body fat, and that build to women is the most attractive. Overall, that skews right in the center of healthy, fit for babies, strong core, can defend me. Instead of the leaning to the other part of the scale where you're too shredded, you start to get too big, or you're too skinny, too emaciated looking. And then you start to have less and less percentages of women that prefer those extremes. But the center is always that strong, a little bit of body fat on you, but enough to outline abs. You don't have to be shredded with veins everywhere, but you have to have that husky, Daniel Craig style coming out the fucking water look, and you're good to go for all ages. All women, in the vast majority, prefer that kind of build. And that's what they're saying here. It's the same thing. You cannot negotiate attraction. This is built in from Mother Nature.
I'd say appeals to me very much.
He has to be taller than you.
Yeah, a good bit taller.
Does
Good
he have
bit
to be
tall.
athletic?
No, not really.
But fit.
Well, I like sort of a man's man. I don't like anybody very, very vain.
Well, I don't like them too fat or muscular. I think it looks a bit vulgar and overfed. I like them thin and sort of well built, not too small.
Thin and well built. Just remember, Jimi Hendrix.
Like you.
What do you look for in a man?
Oh, money, of course. It's very important. As long
Provisioning, baby.
as he's got money, that's the most important thing there is.
I can bear almost anything as long as he has clean teeth.
I look for kindness and sincerity most of all.
Would it matter to you if a man's ugly?
Oh, I think it would. I mean, looks do help, but I think the most thing is kindness and gentleness. I mean, I wouldn't care if he was handsome and he wasn't kind, he wouldn't appeal to me.
I think personality, warmth and affection for children are the main things.
What about his looks? Would you mind if he was very ugly?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I don't think looks are very good anyway because the man is too wrapped up in himself.
Oh, I think firstly, it's good sense of humour, personality, kindness, liking children. I think things like that.
What about his looks?
Oh, they're not terribly important.
It's very interesting because they look at men in a more utility fashion back then. Like, this is going to be the father of my children. Is he going to be kind? Am I going to get beat? Is he going to provide? Is he ambitious? Right? Looks kind of for them legitimately were on the back burner. They went in, even though it's 67 and things were getting crazy with Summer of Love. Still, for the most part, people's ideals were strongly rooted in the nuclear family and building a legacy together. You know, before the era of social media and I am the table and I'll get a man whenever I want later and he'll spoil me like a queen and I'm just going to sit by the pool and do nothing.
I don't know, really. Physique, interest.
Do you think looks are important?
Sometimes it all depends on the man.
What about money?
Money's not important.
Come on,
Would you
sis.
marry an ugly man?
I've married one.